Blog Talk Radio, the world's largest online radio network.
Yeah, happy September 6th, 2012, everybody. You recognize the voice. This is Rob Van Dam, the whole effing show. And I think I'm still on hold. Am I on hold? No, hold is the blue one. Dude, red should be hold. Red is live, and blue, which looks greenish, because blue and green are from the same visible spectrum. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Anyway, happy today. It's Wednesday, which is when we often do RVD radio shows when we do them. It's been a little while. It's definitely time to do a show. I've just been so fucking busy doing the TNA Impact TV shows every week instead of every other week has been quite a change in the schedule. And what I mean by every other week is we used to film down at Universal Studios in Orlando, and we would film on Monday and Tuesday, and it would show for the next 2 Thursdays. And that was the big secret behind our production, and that left more time off in between if you were not busy doing live events or other promotions. When we switched to doing it every Thursday, at first just doing TVs, it was all right, but then when they started adding the house shows and live events, holy cow, it got me busy. Best case scenario, I'll leave Wednesday night, get into Orlando Thursday, like I'm going to do tonight, by the way. I'll be leaving here 10:30 tonight, get in at like 6 in the morning, boom. Got to be to the studio by 1, so by the time I get my car and then go to the hotel, get something to eat, check in, boom, 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 all that, and go to sleep, I usually get like 2 hours of a nap, and then bam, off to the studios for a long day. That's like midnight by the time I get some dinner, and I usually have a 7 or 8 o'clock flight back to the West Coast. So that's best case scenario. Takes a little bit to recover from that. You do some live event house shows or media in between that, coming back on Sunday or Monday, leaving Wednesday. Holy cow, RVD radio falls to the back of the burner sometimes. It's hard to get everything in. And this is why we haven't done any RVD radio shows in a while. They're fun to do. I enjoy them. We all get a little something out of it, right? No? All right, fuck it. Last RVD radio right here. Anyway, we're doing a show, and by the way, it's worth mentioning in the last couple of weeks when I talk about how busy I've been, besides going from California to Florida and back over the summer, last 8, 9, 10 weeks, whatever, I've also, besides doing media in Arizona and Iowa, wrestled in Iowa and Ottawa and whatever the other town was, and Maryland and Ohio and Pennsylvania and New York and wherever I'm forgetting. But I was going to go to Georgia this week, and then boom, I guess my placement in this big BFG tournament got me out of that, because now I'm going to Florida, and then I'll be on the pay-per-view this Sunday, I believe. Is that a spoiler? I don't know. Whatever. You guys aren't listening live anyway. You listen to the archives. And by then, I've already impressed you, and you've already seen me tomorrow on Thursday. I think I got Big Bubba Dudley. Had that match many times, but I got to tell you, I feel like pulling something extra out tomorrow. Yeah! Time to shine. That's what's going on. So I'm in California today doing an RVD radio show because it's time. And I am fortunate to be joined by the lovely SVD today. Say hi, baby.
Hi, baby.
All right, SVD is often but not always with us. Today we are treated with such, and also it's been a few shows since we've had to have a substitute for our co-producer or Blog Talk Radio producer extraordinaire. I guess you're the only producer. I don't know. Nikki Starr, what up? Hi, Nikki Starr. I took her off.
Hey, sorry, my dog stepped on the phone. I had
that's okay. That's okay. Our
so
dog.
how's it going?
Our dog has done much worse. What's up, Nikki Starr? Long time no talk.
I know, right? Just been working like crazy.
Yes. Well, it's time for that. It's been a busy time. It's all about balance, so there'll be some time coming up to enjoy and relax. But when it's time to be productive, boom, 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 we got to get on it, right?
I guess so. No,
right.
I had good summertime, so.
You did? Yeah, every time I'd call you and say, hey, can you do a RVD radio show? You'd say, no, I'm busy, yo.
I can't.
Yeah.
So, yeah, back to the grind.
Matt Denton stepped in a couple times. We didn't do that anyway. We're averaging two shows a year now or something like that. No, it's a little better than that. But it's been quite spontaneous, quite sporadic, several weeks in between.
Yes, sporadic and spontaneous. That is correct.
Yeah, and so, boom, like this one. But glad to do the show. I got a few guests on, and the subject came about from Mr. Bruce Jingles. We'll let him tell his story. He was saying, we should talk about heart attacks. And, it's big news. Michael Clark Duncan died, and, it's really sad. Like, he was such a nice guy. Like, I think people that didn't even know him just kind of, like, loved him. You know what I mean? He never even, like, played like a evil asshole or anything like that. I think in Planet of the Apes he might have been semi-bad. But, it was like he was inspirational in so many ways, and it was just so sad to see that big guy go. I met him. He was a wrestling fan. He came to WWE at the Staples Center in Los Angeles one time when I was there, and I was impressed to meet him, because I'm a fan. How can you not be? And that kind of inspired, some conversations about heart attacks, about, how old the standards are versus, what you should expect. And, as with many conversations, we said, let's talk about it on the radio. So also a good friend of mine, I've always started the shows in the past by saying, happy September 6th, 2012. There's never been another one. We all made it. Not everybody did. I got another friend that probably listened to the last show that didn't make it to this one. And he was a good friend of mine. He was in the Cottonmouth Kings. Yeah, Pacalico.
Yeah.
He would dance like he didn't sing. That was his gimmick. He was like a pop artist, I guess, and he throughout the years whenever we went to the shows, we'd see him out there entertaining everybody while they're singing. He's like holding signs. He wore a gas mask, all kinds of like weird stuff of him expressing himself as an artist. But anyway, what was he, the visual assassin? Yeah, Pacalico. And you could look him up all day on the internet. He's been around for a long time. And I got to hang out with him just days before he ended up having a stroke, I think. If I'm not mistaken. If I got this right, was it a...
No, I thought it was...
I think it was a stroke that led to a cardiac arrest that led to brain aneurysm.
No, it was, he didn't have his inhaler. What is it? An asthma attack.
Oh, an asthma attack.
Yeah.
And that led to cardiac arrest, which led to brain aneurysm, and he passed away.
Yes.
Wow.
Boom, like so quick. It was crazy, like how quick that happened. And he's like, I think 40. And he was a good friend of mine. He definitely had no idea hanging out with him. He wasn't going to be around much longer, but that's how life works. And I thought it would be awesome to have a doctor on the show, to tell us like some warning signs and stuff. But we just threw this show together, I don't know, less than 24 hours ago. And I wasn't able to get a doctor. I got some people that are going to call in, and hopefully we'll get some other people to explain like their relations to it. Whether they've had their own experiences or family members. When we talked about cancer before, it's one of those things where when you open up and start talking about it, you realize that everybody knows somebody that had a heart attack. It's common, and it seems to be a lot more common with men than women. Not sure what's up with that. It'd be nice to have a doctor explain some of that stuff to us. But and there's so many factors. There's genetics, which is a huge factor in everything. And then there's your lifestyle, your diet, whether you exercise or just sit around and you get like the everything to build up inside your heart and stop it. And then there's differences, I guess, between different ways that the heart can shut down. How old is Todd? Can we talk about Todd?
I don't know how old he was when he had his heart attack.
Todd is her brother, who's alive and healthy, by the way. But he was very surprised one day. He was on the couch, and did he say, like? Do you remember how he described it?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
So I don't know if it was like his arm was.
Misinformation is the big thing.
Right, but either way, he had no idea that he had a heart attack.
No, he had no idea, and it completely came out of the blue. I do have heart disease on my mom's side and my dad's side, but Todd is my half brother via my mom, so we only have half, the same genes. But my full-blood brother, who is actually 2 years younger than myself, has also had a heart attack. And my father has had a quintuple bypass and numerous heart attacks. And I just found out, this past May, that I had just ridiculously high cholesterol, which is like the beginning signs of heart disease. So I've had to go on medication myself for that.
Yes, and that's a whole other subject. Like the medicine that they give you causes all kinds of other stuff. It's one of those, and we all see the commercials. Is it Crestor, the one that you see all the commercials and it say may cause all?
Yeah, they all have those warning signs, but I'm actually that one person that needs to pay attention to the warning signs because it happens to me. But yeah, I tried it. They put me on a statin, and the first statin raised my creatine levels to ridiculously high levels where there was a possibility of kidney failure. So that was pretty scary. And then so they put me on Crestor, and that one is actually agreeing with my body so far.
Yeah, so a lot to keep up with the ticker. Bruce is already off. I just took him off. All right. Well, Bruce Jingles, motherfucker. How are you,
Bruce
sir?
Jingles, motherfucker.
Yeah. Dude, how's your heart?
Yeah, it was scary on Sunday. I had a couple of chest pains. But I'm better now. I scared the shit out of me because my dad died of a heart attack 5 years younger than what I am right now. And
that is scary.
Yeah, scared the living shit out of me. So I went to the ER, fully aware that I didn't have any insurance. I didn't give a shit. I just went and they had me. When it's your heart, you get to the front of the line.
Right.
When you go to ER, so they have me. They checked my. They did an EKG, and they had me all hooked up to the machines and everything, which is scary as fuck. Yeah, but I mean, they said everything was normal.
Well, then you already know that you're looking at quacks if they looked at you and said you're normal. You need to get a
I know. I was questioning their medical license.
For sure. So probably what put you in there was panic, right?
Yeah, it was I think it was a anxiety, a panic attack. I've been like stressed out for the last couple of weeks, and it just hit all at once. The simple fact that I had smoked some earwax, maybe that didn't help, but
you don't know how to handle your earwax?
Huh?
You can't handle your earwax?
No, I can't handle that earwax stuff. That, oof, man.
And for people outside of the culture that don't know what the earwax is, it's like a concentrated THC. It's like, it's the purest THC. It's similar to like keef or hash, but it's in a waxy substance, and you cram in like 85-90% THC as opposed to much less. You smoke a joint, you might be getting 7% or something like that. But it's so strong, and the panic is something I think I think a lot of people can relate to that. I've many times had I've been at the doorway to it, where it feels like panicking is a viable option, especially like wrestling. Like I remember rolling around on the mat with Justin McCauley, like especially like the first few times I did it with him, and he wanted to. I don't know what he was trying to do. I think he wanted to give me a heart attack. He's a big dude anyway, and we're wrestling, and he can see that I'm like using all my energy and strength to fight, to try to counter, to try and push him off me, to try to to outstrength him, and during all that, I'm using up all my energy, and after after I'm wasted from the struggle. We end up in a position on the ground where he's basically like laying on top of me, and so you try with everything you got a couple of times to buck him off, and afterwards he's not moving, and then I'm sitting there, and it's like not only can I not breathe because he's on me, but like I start to panic, like, oh my God, what if I can't get him off me? I need to get the fuck out of here right now or I might die. And it's like, and once you get there at that doorway, it's so easy to just either panic or what's your other option? There's not a lot of other options unless you say, get the fuck off me, or tap. When you're wrestling, you can tap out and say, fuck it. But the thought goes through my head, like, what if this really was a heart attack? What if we're pushing it too far? What if it does happen? So that's sometimes for me, I'll get close to that, to that panic. And for me, having a feeling that I'm mostly invulnerable and I think, oh, I'm not going to get hurt, I'm tough and whatever, to reach that point, it's like, well, wait a second, this could be a heart attack. I had it happen one time when I used to drink those Monster Energy drinks all the time. I loved them every day.
Yeah, you stopped doing that.
So I drank they had that big mouth one that's big as, I don't know, 2 or 3 of the other ones, and I slammed that whole thing down. We were moving my comic store, actually. Little info for anyone listening, my comic book store is closed. I still get asked every day if my comic book store is still open. We were closing it, and on moving day, we're moving all this shit out, all the comics and shelves and boxes of stuff, and for energy, I was drinking those Monster Energy drinks. I drank the whole big mouth one, and then afterwards, there was another size in between that was bigger than the regular can, maybe 2 cans, can and a half, whatever. 2 Can Sam. No, he's Fruity Loops. No, anyway, hey, did you know Tony Tiger had a son? He did. Google it.
Tony Jr.
You did know that. I thought that might just be regional.
No, I remember Tony Jr., the Junior Frosted Flakes.
Did he have his own cereal, or he just shared the box with Tony for a while?
Yeah, he had a short-lived spin-off cereal.
Sweet. All right, cool. And
it came on after Joni Loves Tachi Flakes.
Okay. Now I think I got sidetracked. Oh, let's see. Fruit Loops, Toucan. Anyway, so I had the Monster drinks, and my heart was racing and it was boom. It was pounding so hard in my chest that the thought went through my mind again. I remember at that time, I was like, oh shit. I went to my gym, and I was on cardio, running, just trying to keep up with my heart. That was, I jumped in my pool, I was swimming laps, and I was thinking, okay, there's no way my body can be resting while my heart is just pounding out of my chest. That can't be good. So maybe if I move around and get the blood circulating, maybe I won't die. And that started going through my head. I didn't go quite as far as you and actually go to the hospital with the fear of having a heart attack, but I can relate to a great of taking that trip.
Yeah, when your dad dies of it, and you're like thinking, like, fuck, you know what I mean?
For sure.
Like, I was like, I'm not going out like that, and just, it's just fucking scary. And you're right too, because when you get one of those panic attacks, everything's like caving in on you. You know what I mean? And it's just
totally.
Like, and people were like, Bruce, what's wrong? I was like, dude, get away from me, get away. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, it was just, ugh. It's not no bueno.
Well, luckily you made it, and glad you're here and healthy.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a very common way to go. I'm pretty sure that my grandfather on my mother's side died from a heart attack. Pretty sure, but it's not something that like hangs over me. I don't remember. I was 2 years old. I don't even don't even remember him. But there's all kinds of, you know, I mean, like you take precautions, you know, you try to be healthy. There's a lot you can do for cardio health, you know. I mean, you can see a lot of groceries in the store tell you if they're heart healthy. You know, they have like a little heart on it, and they tell you to get the omega-3s. That's real good. But we had a dietitian tell us that with the omega-3s, that you need like just the right amount, and then you're good, and that too much is not good for you. And like we were talking about what our diets are, I'm like, oh, I get omega-3. I mean, it's in the eggs. It's in my fish oil. It's in the flaxseed oil. I think it's in this. And she said, whoa, you're probably taking too much. I'm like, how can you take too much? And according to her, it actually will cloud your brain if you have too much omega-3, and it clouds your thinking and makes you like, I think she called it ditzy, you know, like spacey, and that's fascinating. I've never heard that before. So there's just, it's hard to know that you're doing the right thing. Someone that we Eddie Guerrero was in great shape. Eddie, professional wrestler. I mean, you know, the guy, look at his body. You can tell he didn't miss any workouts. He was training every day. He had amazing cardiovascular conditioning. You know, could wrestle, jumping, flying, flipping, 20, 30, 40 minutes. He could hang with anybody. Brushing his teeth in the hotel room, and he just drops dead. And my understanding is, I've never heard that called a heart attack. No one has said that, but they say that the death is caused from heart failure. So
yeah,
sure, there what the difference is between your heart failing on you and having a heart attack. But either way, how could you see that coming? So the word was that spread after Eddie's death. First off, WWE went crazy with the drug testing, which was interesting, since Eddie was considered sober, and they started testing for, I think that's when they started testing for marijuana. I was gone from WWE before this happened, by the way, but the drug testing really went into full effect following Eddie's death, and then...
do you think it was a combination of Benoit, too?
Well, yeah, I'm trying to remember, but the timing on that, I'm trying to figure out...
Because it was Benoit first. Or no, Eddie died first.
So the way I remember it, when Eddie died, you know, they started testing for pot first off, which they didn't do before, and they started drug testing more regularly. And then when Chris Benoit died with that tragedy, then the Congress, you know, started peeking in and started demanding that the tests on roids, you know, were mandated, and it was strange, because it's not like pro wrestling is a sanctioned professional sport. It's basically like two companies and a bunch of other, you know, independently owned small shows. So to me, that's the whole argument that I have, like when it comes to insurance. Like, oh, wrestlers should be insured. Well, who's going to insure them? There's not like a federal sanction for pro wrestling. There's not a state sanction for pro wrestling. The art form that it is a small standalone entity. You know, it's like midget bowling, or, you know, dwarf tossing or something. It's something you can do. You can put together your own dwarf tossing show if you want, and maybe one guy will have enough money to get ESPN, and maybe he's got one, but still, it's still just, you know, a couple of small promoters and companies, or it's not an entity that exists like in the government. So for Congress to come down and make demands, had to be specifically to Vince McMahon. And then, you know, I don't even know how big TNA was at the time. I think they were pretty big, because Kurt Angle was already there, and they already definitely had their position and had their growth. But that was about it. I saw Ring of Honor on TV a couple of weeks ago when I was in Iowa at a hotel. I'd never seen that before. what else can there be? It's not like when you're in school, like with baseball, you start with T-ball and go through. It's not like you do pro wrestling in school, and then when you graduate, you fill out a form that says, let's see, do I want to go to the military, or do I want to be a teacher, or, oh, here we go, I'm going to check the box that says pro wrestling. It doesn't exist. It's not something that's out there. So basically, if you are a promoter and you put together a pro wrestling show and you've paid the licensing fees or whatever, then you kind of, I mean, you set the rules and judgments, and whatever guidelines are there would be there for any public spectacle event that would fall under. But anyway, Eddie definitely had nothing to do with pot, but they started, implementing the pot testing, and then with Benoit, it was the steroids. Even though the factor that could have played in what happened is, in my assessment, minimal at best. That was the result of that. Was boom, all the testing and stuff. So, those guys.
By the way, hi SPD. Sorry about that.
Oh, hi, Bruce.
How are you?
Good, thanks. Glad you didn't have a heart attack.
Thank you. I'm hoping you don't either.
I'm good right now, actually.
The weird thing is,
dad, Sonia's dad, by the way, has had many. He's experienced with having his heart worked on so many times. And would you say, like, pretty much like your whole life? Or?
Pretty much. I mean, I was really young. I think I was like maybe first grade when he was told, if you don't change your lifestyle, this is what's going to happen. You're going to have heart disease and you're going to have diabetes. And, of course, he didn't listen. And definitely by the time I was like late middle school, early high school, he had diabetes and was well on his way to heart disease. I can't remember if I was...
Was it his diet or just his lifestyle? Or
that and genetics. Genetics.
Hello? Hello?
Oh, I said it was a cross between diet and genetics. He did not win the genetics card at all.
Yeah, because that's what I feel. That's what I'm not. I drink, but I don't eat sloppy. I can't eat sloppy. You know what I mean? Just I can't eat.
You don't eat sloppy joes?
No, I just can't eat like junk food. I can't eat like fast food. I'm just not a fan of it. It's and that's one of the cards I think I have that I try to eat healthy. But but genetics suck. And your dad is native, correct?
Correct. So
okay, so
yeah.
in the African American community and the Native community, heart disease is very high. Matter of fact, heart disease in the Native community is up there. It's almost as high as in the African American community.
Right,
So,
in addition to diabetes. And I think if you have one, you have the other. They do go hand in hand.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
and I really don't want the beaties. I'm sorry, I don't want that.
I don't either, and that was another thing that was quite a shock to me because, when I got cancer, I was really shocked that I had cancer, but heart disease is what I have planned for my entire life. So I've always kind of regimented my life towards that. I don't eat a lot of red meat. The red meat that we do eat is usually buffalo because it's a healthier, leaner meat with a higher protein. I'm just very aware of those kinds of things because of my family history. So, it was very shocking when I got cancer. Mm-hmm. What was really shocking to me was recently, this past year, I was told that I'm borderline diabetic.
Oh.
And we went in and did some really in-depth blood work, and they said, well, you're okay for now. Let's not worry about it. But when I went in a couple weeks ago, it was like, well, you're back to borderline. So I know I'm dancing I'm dancing on the fence, and I don't like it either.
Yeah. But your diet, every time I've eaten with you,
exactly. Yeah, I mean, she doesn't have any of the standard features when you look for anything with health issues. You know, her weight, size, age, lifestyle, everything about her is it contrasts the what to look for. Yeah, and all the issues that she has. Hold on, Bruce. I want to let two callers on.
No problem.
First off, Officer X, motherfucker.
Officer X, motherfucker.
What's going on, my man?
Hey, man, thanks for calling in. Let me let my other guest on, too, and then just hold on to Officer X, because I've been waiting for this man to call, Mr. Wrestling legend himself, Eddie Mansfield. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing wonderful, RVD. What's happening with you, my brother?
All right, man. This is spending a day off working. That's what I'm doing. But we got Officer X, who is our official representative of the public safety. Officer X is up in Massachusetts. Got comedian Bruce Jingles on the line, and
how you doing?
Myself and SVD. So, plus we got host Nikki Starr. Just to let you know who you're on the line with, Mr. Eddie Mansfield. So, I see Eddie all the time when I go to Florida. I go to there almost every week with TNA. I'll probably see you tomorrow or the next couple of days. I'll be there Thursday through Sunday, Eddie. I look forward to seeing you. We're talking today about heart attacks. You know, Michael Clark Duncan died, and it was so sad for everybody. I mean, everyone. I think he's like one of those lovable guys that, like, everyone at home, even if they've never met him, they just loved him through his movies or just seeing him smile or whatever so much, and it's sad. It's so sad to see him go. And, you know, we've all had relatives that have had heart attacks or friends or whatever. So we're just, having an open discussion about it. I mean, it brings a lot of questions to mind. I always wonder, what the warning signs are, because I've heard from people like their arm goes numb or something, and then quite often they have a heart attack and they don't know it, and then a couple of days later, like, they find out that they had one. I see that all the time in the news. And
the arm going numb. That's what made me go right to the emergency. Like,
your arm went numb?
Yeah, my left arm went numb. I was like, shit. That's what I was like. Oh, it's real. And then that's when I went. So
Eddie, you've been
I don't
around.
know if that was psychosomatic or anything.
Eddie, you've been around. I'm sure you've seen a lot of our brothers in the industry have died from heart attacks, or some of them have survived heart attacks, whatever. But have you actually got any knowledge to share, what to expect? Or here's one thing. Even before you answer that, sorry to cut you off already, but why is it that Bruce Jingles, because he's black, he's got a better chance of having a heart attack, diabetes, and I think he even has a lower life expectancy? What's up with that?
Well, that's genetics at its best, and worse, because with me being from a Jewish descent, there's a lot of cardiovascular problems in our race as well. And so when you look at it, what you have to do, Rob, is especially in the wrestling business, all of us have got A personalities. We got a lot of testosterone running wild, and we're high strung, and we go 24/7, and that's what a lot of people don't realize about professional wrestling. Once you hit that building, it really doesn't stop. I mean, it really increases, and it depends on not only your diet and the way you do things, but it comes down to your father and your mother or your grandmother, well, especially with the heart. And a lot of our guys that you and me and our other guests have seen die way too early. And I started about a year and a half ago with afibrillation. And what happened was, it was like me being on cocaine. My heart was beating 177 minutes. I mean, beats per minute. And I didn't know if my heart was going to explode or not. And when I went in and did the MRI and all the tests, my heart's like a 20-year-old, believe it or not. But when you have afibrillation, it's one of those funky things that your heart, you have to be careful with your alcohol content, which I don't drink at all anymore. and you watch your diet, and you try to get exercise, and you nurse, and because you don't know when it's going to happen, and so they put you on A-field medicine, which Tickerson I'm on is one of the latest drugs out, and the only places you can actually get it is at the hospital. So that's how I do, but this thing is wonderful. I mean, this is the best I've felt in 2 years. And when I did FanFest in Atlanta for our dear friend Greg Price, I can tell you I was bloated, and that was the most I've ever weighed in my entire life, and it was like 244. And it's because of medication I was on. And you have to be careful about the doctors. And I've had to get rid of 3 doctors until I got the real doctor that could fix me. I mean, I almost died twice because of bad physicians. And that's
we know all about that, man. When Sonia was having stomach problems, we went through months and months of this tumor progressing to an eventual stage 3 because the asshole doctor was talking about, eat more fiber, maybe it's irritable bowel syndrome, and he wanted to run a bunch of people through his colonoscopies that he was just getting insurance claims on, and he was too busy to really look at her, and wouldn't give her one because she was too young, but that's eventually what saved her fucking life, so...
Yeah.
We know all about that, Continental Lover. Let me ask Officer X a question, who called in right before we took both of these. Hopefully people will do when they call 911. Hopefully the ambulance comes and not the police cars when someone's having a heart attack. But since you're out there in the public and when there's trouble, here comes trouble.
Right.
Officer X is going to be there. Do you ever, you often like see? Is that some shit you see like through like a day's work where whether it's I don't know, a result of a fight or someone running or for whatever reason, do you often come up on someone that's having a heart attack, Officer X?
I wouldn't say often, probably 10 times in 15 years, you know.
Yeah, way more often than I have.
But I mean, I got a save too. Do you ever see those defibrillator machines? Have you seen those before?
Is that like where it just like boom, it like shocks you?
Yeah. I got a save. The guy was having a heart attack, and we saved him with the machine and the CPR.
Holy shit! So you carry that shit in your car? Yeah,
every car has a defibrillator in it because we get there before the ambulance does, just because you're in more spots. And our guys do a pretty good job. They do save some people from time to time, you know.
Yeah, well,
I mean, especially
you also train
early enough.
Yeah, hey, Officer X, also you train recruits and stuff. What about, and I wanted to ask DDP this, but he couldn't call in because he's moving or something. Yeah, he's moving to Atlanta. But anyway, you got recruits and you're training like a big classroom of people. You got some people that are out of shape, you know, and there's some fat ass, and you're putting them through the routine. Doesn't that go through your mind? Like, I mean, they I don't know if they have to pass the physical first, but they might die on you.
Rob, I'm telling you, they do. They do put them through a physical first, but it's a terrible standard. I don't know if I told you about the guy we had. We had this kid. We were putting him through. And we weren't even putting him through too bad. It was just like 3 or 4 sets up the stairs, and he wasn't looking too good. And I said, "Hey, I'm getting you an ambulance." The kid says, "I don't need an ambulance. I need an ambulance." I told him, "Listen, you're going in the ambulance." Kid had kidney failure. Spent 4 days in the cardiac unit out of it. You know, just from being in such terrible shape. And you're talking a 23-year-old guy. You know.
No shit.
And I'm really overprotective of making sure we don't hurt anybody, you know. Just
you don't want to be responsible for that, huh?
No, it's not just that. If you don't want to hurt anybody, that's not what you're in the business to do. But I mean, the conditioning level of people is just so bad. I mean, most of the people we know exercise, but most of the people in the world don't, you know.
Right. Yeah. Believe it or not, I don't want to hurt anybody either. I just want to show off. But Eddie, can you still hear me, Eddie?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, cool. Cause you're when you're talking, there's like some static, like trying to interrupt you or something. But Eddie, like your heyday was back, you know, when you were wrestling Continental Lover. What year would you say was like the peak of Continental Lover's career?
Well, I would say some of my best year was 80. I was Outstanding Wrestler of the Year in 1980, and then 1981 through about 84 was my real peak years. But I never peaked because I was only 24 years old.
Right. Peak's a funny word. You know, when people ask that, I kind of felt funny even saying that because like people ask me, I'm like, what do you mean? I'm still at my peak. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. But what I was getting at, what I was wondering, you tell me if I'm wrong, Eddie. But I think that back in that time, that the wrestlers overall weren't as physical as they are today. Now, I might be wrong, I don't know, but I just remember, like, I remember when I saw Rick Rude with WWF, and I had never seen a body like that. I'd never seen those abs as a kid, and I was like, holy shit, look at this guy, man, he's awesome. And then, you know, when Ultimate Warrior came through, like, same thing, like, this guy looks like a bodybuilder, and he's like, wrestling was awesome. And I think those guys, and of course Hogan, but they inspired a new generation, and now I think that the standard of the body for the wrestler is a more physically fit, more muscular, more athletic look overall than back in the day.
Because back in the day they were all sloppy somewhat.
People were driving from town to town, just hitting the bars at night. Would that be incorrect, Eddie?
No, that's not incorrect. I can tell you, when I broke in at 19 years old, I was in real good shape, and I was one of the guys who hit weights when I first broke in the business, and that was a rare thing to do, because most of the older guys, they just didn't work out, and I'm not saying they can't do 60 minutes in the ring, but they just never found the gym. And when the guy that really, to me, started it all with the physique was like Superstar Billy Graham. The Superstar was the biggest white guy I've ever seen in my life, and he actually his guns were just like unbelievable.
Right.
And I mean, the stuff that Hulk Hogan did and still does today, he copied a lot from Superstar.
Yeah. Right.
And Superstar was bigger than life. I'll never forget when I was in Los Angeles, and I was the king of L.A. for a few years, and Billy Graham and myself went through LAX, and I have never been with a guy besides Andre the Giant that turned heads like Billy Graham did. I mean, because he was just so massive. And in the 80s, you know, bodybuilding was really starting to take off, you know, and he had such a physique, it was unbelievable. But I believe that today's wrestlers, per se, I don't know, fundamentally sound, I don't know. But I know from a body standpoint, they're absolutely 100% in better shape than even in the 80s. And I think that's a good thing for guys to do now.
Yeah, except, you know, speaking from as an experienced wrestler, I've noticed my whole career that too many of the guys' focus is in the gym, and they need to be learning how to do a damn headlock instead of bench pressing. I'm sure you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, they don't know a headlock from a hammerlock. And
but they look good, and their buddies tell them they'd make a good wrestler because they can pose.
Oh, like David Otunga? Oh, never mind.
I don't even know who that is, but
exactly.
I'll let that go.
Hey, Eddie.
Yes.
Hey, now, Backlund's a friend of mine, and Bob told me back in the 70s and 80s, he said no one ever really worked out. He said he was almost like an anomaly. He said no one would ever like do the step test with him or run the wheel or any of that other stuff. He said some bodybuilding stuff, but conditioning just wasn't there.
Well,
as opposed to the guys now, I mean, you go to a gym when the wrestling's in town, the place is packed.
Yeah, well, what, far as the gym?
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you this, the difference is with the guys today and the guys in the 80s, okay? I left the wrestling business altogether in 1993. I've seen the progression from the late 70s all the way through the 90s, all the way to now. I can tell you one thing, that the guys that I worked in the ring with could do 60 minutes standing on their friggin' head.
Yep.
And today, you would be far-fetched to ever find a wrestler, and RVD will probably tell you this, that could really do 60 minutes. I mean, there are few and far between guys that could wrestle that long because they really didn't learn their craft. They're in the gym too much. And you got to have a balance there where you have a nice body, but you also know your craft. And
I want to add to that, by the way, from a personal standpoint, although I may not necessarily respect the etiquette that works for someone else enough to want to put it onto myself, but the guys that don't warm up, that don't stretch, that don't even fucking go to the gym and can go out to the ring and can do, 20, 30 minutes, they impress the shit out of me. I don't know how the fuck they do that. I've always said those are the real tough guys because I got to feel ready to go out there. Otherwise, I might, I'm not going to feel like I'm at my best when I'm out there. And I don't want to pull a hamstring or anything. And granted, they're not jumping up doing spinning kicks. Well, usually they're not. Some of the little guys, Spike Dudley, I mean, he never hit the gym, and he would jump around. But big guys, little guys, a lot of them, they have like a 2-minute warm-up where they, where they just do a couple of little squats. Like Stan Hansen would do some squats holding onto the back of a chair and then go out to the ring. And he did his, I watched him do that for years and years and years. And I'm like, wow, to me, that's a different kind of tough. Like for me, I got to stretch and I got to apply my insurance code to, make sure that I'm going to come back out of the ring without an injury to the best chance I got.
A lot of stuff that a lot of the old timers did were stupid. And what we used to do is we used to turn, when we'd start warming up, we'd take a deck of cards and start doing squats, you know what I mean, and stretch a little bit. But you take that card. If it was ace, you either did 1 or you did 11. You do the king, And,
my grandma used to put the cards down and like bend down and pick them all up one at a time, like 52-card pickup. That was an exercise too. But by the way, when it comes to conditioning myself and applying the insurance, when it comes to the heart, that's like my main concern. I mean, I stretch, but it's the worst feeling in the world being what we call blown up, when you can't breathe. It feels like someone's sitting on your chest. It feels like you can't get any air in. You feel helpless. You got no energy. And for me to be out there and feel that vulnerable is the worst feeling. When it does happen, like once in a great while it'll happen, I make sure years go by before it happens again. And sometimes, because I'm traveling, not sleeping, on the other side of the planet, switching time zones, sometimes I'll get a little blown up in the ring because I have a high energy action about me. That's my shit, but for me, just breathing a little hard is enough. So when I stay on top of that shit because I want to make sure that whoever I'm in the ring with, they're going to blow up before me. First time I heard that word blow up, I thought it was hilarious. Sabu, who trained us, he taught us that word. He said, when you're, before I ever had my first match, when you get really winded and you can't breathe, they call it blown up. Me and my buddy went, that's hilarious. Because we were punks. And speaking of Sabu, he called in, so that was a good transition. That was not planned at all. Actually, I saw him. Sabu!
Hey, I'm right here.
Sabu, you're on the line with SVD and Nikki Star, Officer X, Bruce Ingles, and Eddie fucking Mansfield.
Sabu, motherfucker!
Sabu, motherfucker.
That's close.
Yeah. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
We're good, man. We're talking about heart attacks. Bruce went to the hospital the other day because he thought he was having a heart attack, and it turned out, that he's healthy. He was just panicking, and I felt before, like close to panicking, where I was like, oh shit, like is this happening? Like, so we're just talking about our stories and shit like that. You ever relate to that?
No, not quite like that. I got tired, but never close to a heart attack.
Right. Well, it's put a lot of people down. It's a lot of it, like we talked about. A lot of it's lifestyle. I think genetics is probably might be the biggest factor. I'm not a doctor. I wish I had one calling in here, but Officer X says almost once a year. See how I did the math there? About 0.75 times a year, he he actually comes across someone having a heart attack, and he fucking saved someone's life one time.
I'm trying to get somebody I'm trying to get a buddy of mine.
He saved many lives, I'm sure, but one with a heart attack.
I'm trying to get a buddy of mine that actually had a heart attack.
I can get him to have a heart attack online because that'd be good for us to listen.
No, he's not going to have it online. I'm trying to get him to call in. He's actually just turned 40. He's 2 years younger than me and had a massive heart attack.
A massive heart attack. So,
yeah.
Wow, yeah, I guess, they have different ratings of how bad the heart attack was. The massive sounds like that'd be pretty bad.
Yeah, he had the Widowmaker.
Rob.
Yo, Eddie.
Yeah, it's kind of like an earthquake. They judge the seismometer, and it's all about the doctors, Rob. I'm telling you, these doctors work your ass until they almost kill you, and then you literally have to fire them, and once you fire your doctor and get a doctor who really cares about you and really wants to fix you, you can get fixed. I don't care if it's the heart or if it's cancer or if anything. You got to make sure that you got the right doctor that doesn't want to milk you. Because I'm $150,000 lighter because they milk me pretty damn good, and so I thought they were trying to do the right thing, but all along it was all about the money.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at all. I mean, that's it's a business, and that's definitely we've with all the health issues that Sonia's had with with the cancer diagnosis and every follow up with that. We've had our fill of doctors, and yeah, I see a big range of them. Most of them are they just look at the people, like they're I don't know, like they could, like their patients could live or die, and they want to make sure it's not going to affect them, so they're not personal. They don't treat them like they're just things, like they're things, that insurance companies paying them to spend time with these things. It's a business. At the same time, I'm glad we got doctors.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Rob, I haven't met too many doctors with any social skills at all.
None. Very few.
They're fucking social retards.
Yeah.
Dr. J did.
Rob, when you were mentioning insurance on wrestlers, years ago, Jesse Ventura, myself, and some other guys, we had this idea, not only about a union, but an idea that I brought up for professional wrestlers to join, like AFTRA. Or SAG, where they're going to combine both of them now, I think. But with AFTRA, because we were on television each and every week, so we could qualify for that. And what we were telling promoters was, look, you don't have to pay our pension and health, what do they call it, pension and health or whatever. We will pay it ourselves. And AFTRA was going to cut us a deal where all the wrestlers could join. They would pay their dues and not worry about promoters, because you know how they are. They're not going to do anything unless they were made to do it. And so we had all that lined up, and that still could be done today. I mean, wrestlers could go join AFTRA because of television exposure that they're on. So
if they are on TV getting exposure as a wrestler in the world today, doesn't that pretty much mean they're working for one of two companies today?
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, like by doing that, by going out, then it's basically like AFTRA against these two promoters. I mean, in the world that you and Jesse were in, where there was so many different options, different territories, they all had TV, then you needed more self-protection. But now it seems like it's more of a one-on-one deal that you make with the one or two promoters if you get on TV to cover yourself. I think that sounds great, but that's where I lean when it goes towards the insurance thing. But that'd be great if AFTRA did that. Imagine the hours that you'd be rolling under your belt every week. Yeah.
But it would give some guys that, because really we'd have to buy stuntman insurance to get covered. I mean, insurance for professional wrestlers is so astronomically high, it blows your friggin' mind. So if you went through AFTRA, with a group like that it would include us, since they call it entertainment. We're entertainers. All right. Well, we should have insurance for other entertainers. And if we make $5,000 a year, I think that you can belong to that. So I think that would be a good way to help our fellow brothers if they could just join after it and pay their own. I don't want the promoter to pay anything. Just give me the opportunity to have health insurance where I can't buy any more because I'm a high risk factor.
Right. Yeah. Well, set that shit up, man. Make it happen. Sounds good to me. In the meantime, because me and Booker T went round and round on this an episode one time, and in the meantime, as an independent contractor, you got to look out for yourself, which a lot of young guys aren't able to do. You start out, you're not making much money. You don't even have any insurance. You're wrestling, taking a chance of breaking your body every night, but unless you're under contract, you don't even have any insurance when you're starting out until and you're not paying taxes. You're at that stage when you're starting out in, with any career or whatever. People would be amazed, how they're just getting by. But eventually, if you got a contractor on TV and if you're valuable and you're doing business, then you got to look out for yourself and make sure you get enough money so that you can pay for your own insurance. And that's kind of how I did it, was figure out what I pay for a year and get that. It's expensive. It goes up all the time. The insurance company does not have me listed as a wrestler, and it's still expensive as fuck.
What are you listed as?
I would imagine after what's that, dude?
What are you listed as? I mean, you can't list you as a wrestler.
An entertainer. I do acting also, and some other stuff. So you can't tell them that you're a wrestler and expect them to insure you. It's one of those high risk jobs. But anyway, yeah.
Insurance before, Rob. When I was wrestling, I came out of pro baseball, and then I still had insurance, and I was on USA Network at the time. And one of my agents just happened to be watching and saw me on television. They canceled my insurance, and so that's you have to watch that all the time.
Yeah. Can we go for another hour, RVD?
What's that, dude?
Can we go for another hour?
All the heart attacks.
Let's not. Let's not. But
Sandman.
Oh yeah, that's right. Sandman's in town, and after RVD Radio, I'm going to Marina Del Rey, where he's at, to meet up with him. Got to fly out tonight, so I got to do everything that I need done in between. At RobVanDam.com. Well, it's the eBay store. You can get off there, whatever. We've been auctioning off outfits, wrestling outfits. We started with one, but we're going to do like a couple a month or whatever, because I got a ton of them in the closet. And some of them I can't wear anymore. The shoulders get stretched out. The paint still looks good on it. What am I going to do? So there's like 100 items and shit in the RVD eBay store. You go to RobVanDam.com, hit it off the store, however the fuck you find it, you know that shit. Eddie, Continental Lover, you got anything to plug? Any website, Twitter account, projects, anything?
Well, we got a ton of projects coming up, but I just don't want to let anything out the bag right now. I want to keep it under wraps.
Eddie and I are working on several projects together, which I will make public knowledge of when the time is right, stuff that I'm very excited about. And by the way, I did a project last night that I think I can't talk about.
How'd it go?
You already know?
Yeah, I already know.
Oh, okay.
You told me.
Oh, I told you. I was going to say, well, if it's out, it's out. But anyway, it's all I'm saying is this. Director, don't say anything. It's only RVD Radio. Director Justin Lin from the Fast and Furious, new project, and we shot something last night. That's all I'm saying. But I think that's along the lines of not being able to talk about it, promote it yet, but something to look forward to. So, Eddie, I will see you this weekend, and thanks for calling in. I'm going to wrap this up, and I'm going to go to Jingles and ask what you got to plug. Are we doing Gas Lamp Tuesday?
I think so. I'm at the Rock the Keys tonight. I'm taping a 7-minute set that I'm sending, demo that I'm sending to the late night. So have your fingers crossed.
Cool. Good luck with that.
Thank you, man. Also, I'll be.
Bruce is a comedian, Eddie.
Oh, I love
Yes.
it. That's great.
Yes, I try. I will be at the Ontario Improv this Sunday at 2 in the afternoon for a charity event. It's for the Hesperia junior high football team. They want to get our Pee Wee football team. They want to get new uniforms. So, and tickets are only $20, and all proceeds go to that. And you can add me on, like my Facebook page, comedian Bruce Jingles, or add me on Twitter, or follow me on Twitter, Bruce Jingles.
Sweet. All right,
Thanks
cool.
again, brother.
Yeah, right on, man. Sabu. What's going on, dude?
I want to plug, where am I? Escanaba, Michigan on the 15th, and Oshkosh, Wisconsin on the 14th. If you mention RVD Radio, you get in half price.
Sweet. Right on, dude.
Sabu, cut the deals.
Sabu,
That one, motherfucker.
He's cutting the deals, man. I like it.
Good. Right on.
All right, cool, man. Officer X, yo, you never have anything to plug. Make something up.
I do, man.
Okay, you do. Are you plugging your Twitter? Did you get that figured out yet?
No, I'm gonna plug Dreamer's show though, the House of Hardcore show in Poughkeepsie, New York on October 6th or 7th, whatever the fuck it is. Hold on.
Yeah, so Tommy Dreamer started his own wrestling promotion, from what I understand. I haven't talked to him about it yet, but I think that's the word out there. Is this his first show, or has he been running?
Yeah, October 6th in Poughkeepsie, houseofhardcore.net.
Sweet. Is this going to be his first show, or has he already been running?
Yeah, he's got a school and a show and everything. He's got some good shit going on.
Yeah, he should go to school.
All right, cool, man. All right, cool. Well, it would have been, I don't know if we helped anybody to look for any warning signs or whatever, but it was just a fucking discussion, you know what I'm saying? But Eddie brought some fucking info to the table. Officer X, you're trained, you carry around a fucking defibrillator with you. Before we close the program, let the listeners know, what are you trained to know for, like, warning signs? How the fuck you know someone's having a heart attack?
They start sweating, the pain burning down the heart, they feel their hands are clammy to the touch, tightness in the chest. You get any of that shit, dial 911.
Quick, sweet, and Officer X will
or pop an aspirin. Hey, if you think you're having a heart attack, pop an aspirin and call 911.
That's what I did. That's what I did, dude.
Yeah, that's why you're alive.
So thinning your blood might cause it to pass through if it's clogged up, huh?
I know a lot of people high risk in their 60s. They take a baby aspirin every single day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually I've been told to do that as well. I did for a while because I think my cholesterol or my blood pressure, I can't remember. I think it was cholesterol was kind of high or whatever. I don't know, but I take niacin every day for that, and red yeast is another supplement just over the counter to look for cardiovascular health and shit. But that's some of the shit that we supplement takers do. Cool.
Word up with Ben.
All right, cool. Nikki Starr, I'm taking you off a hold to ask you. You got anything to plug, Nikki Starr? Oh, she's not talking anymore. Are you talking to us, Nikki? She's probably already doing another show. She's probably already doing another show because we're like 6 minutes past the live show, so this is all just going on the archive, so we kept going anyway. But cool. All right, well, hopefully nobody has a heart attack listening to this show. I wish that for all the listeners and all the guests that your hearts be healthy and that your days be long and prosperous and all kinds of shit. So cool. Thanks for calling in, everybody. Thanks, Bruce Jingles. Thanks, Eddie Mansfield. Thanks, Officer X. Thanks, Nikki Starr. Thanks, Sabu. Thanks for everybody. We'll try and do this again. I'm on pay-per-view this Sunday called No Surrender, TNA Impact pay-per-view. Although, I don't know if that's official news yet. That might be something. Anyway, fuck it. I'm there. Boom. So there we go. Happy hearts to you. Stay bye, baby.
Bye, baby.
Boom. Blog Talk Radio, where millions of hosts and listeners gather.
I think I got Big Bubba Dudley. Had that match many times, but I gotta tell you, I feel like pulling something extra out tomorrow. Yeah! Time to shine. That's what's going on. So I'm in California today, doing an RVD radio show because it's time, and I am fortunate to be joined by the lovely SVD today. Say hi, baby.
Hi, baby.
All right, SVD is often but not always with us. Today we are treated with such, and also it's been a few shows since we've had to have a substitute for our co-producer or Blog Talk Radio producer extraordinaire. I guess you're the only producer. I don't know. Nikki Starr, what up? Hi, Nikki Starr. I took her off.
Hey, sorry, my dog stepped on the phone. I had to
that's okay. That's okay. Our
so
dog.
how's it going?
Our dog has done much worse. What's up, Nikki Starr? Long time no talk.
I know, right? Just been working like crazy.
Yes. Well, it's time for that. It's been a busy time. It's all about balance, so there'll be some time coming up to enjoy and relax. But when it's time to be productive, boom, 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 we got to get on it, right?
I guess so. No,
right.
I had good summertime, so.
You did? Yeah, every time I'd call you and say, hey, can you do a RVD radio show, you'd say, no, I'm busy, yo.
I can't.
Yeah.
So, yeah, back to the grind.
Matt Denton stepped in a couple times. We didn't do
know,
that. Anyway, we're averaging
too,
2 shows a year now or something like that. No, it's a little better than that. But it's been quite spontaneous, quite sporadic, several weeks in between.
Yes, sporadic and spontaneous. That is correct.
He would dance like he didn't sing. That was his gimmick. He was like a pop artist, I guess, and he throughout the years whenever we went to the shows, we'd see him out there entertaining everybody while they're singing. He's like holding signs. He wore a gas mask, all kinds of like weird stuff of him expressing himself as an artist. But anyway, what was he, the visual assassin? Yeah, Pacalico. And you could look him up all day on the internet. He's been around for a long time. And I got to hang out with him just days before he ended up having a stroke, I think. If I'm not mistaken. If I got this right, was it a...
No, I thought it was...
I think it was a stroke that led to a cardiac arrest that led to brain aneurysm.
No, it was... he didn't have his inhaler. What is it? An asthma attack.
Oh, an asthma attack.
Yeah.
And that led to cardiac arrest, which led to brain aneurysm, and he passed away.
Yeah.
Wow.
Boom, like so quick. It was crazy, like how quick that happened. And he's like, I think 40. And you know, he seemed to. He was a good friend of mine. He definitely had no idea hanging out with him. He wasn't going to be around much longer. But that's how life works. And I thought it would be awesome to have a doctor on the show, you know, to tell us like some warning signs and stuff. But you know, we just threw this show together. You know, I don't know, less than 24 hours ago. And I wasn't able to get a doctor. I got some people that are going to call in, and hopefully we'll get some other people to explain like their
Blog Talk Radio, the world's largest online radio network.
Yeah, happy September 6th, 2012, everybody. You recognize the voice. This is Rob Van Dam, the whole effing show. And I think I'm still on hold. Am I on hold? No, hold is the blue one. Dude, red should be hold. Red is live, and blue, which is greenish, because blue and green are from the same visible spectrum. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Anyway, happy today. It's Wednesday, which is when we often do RVD radio shows when we do them. It's been a little while. It's definitely time to do a show. I've just been so fucking busy doing the TNA Impact TV shows every week instead of every other week has been quite a change in the schedule. And what I mean by every other week is we used to film down at Universal Studios in Orlando, and we would film on Monday and Tuesday, and it would show for the next 2 Thursdays. And that was the big secret behind our production, and that left more time off in between if you were not busy doing live events or other promotions. when we switched to doing it every Thursday, at first just doing TVs, it was all right. But then when they started adding the house shows and live events, holy cow, it got me busy. Best case scenario, I'll leave Wednesday night, get into Orlando Thursday, like I'm going to do tonight, by the way. I'll be leaving here 10:30 tonight, get in at like 6 in the morning, boom. Got to be to the studio by 1, so by the time I get my car and then go to the hotel, get something to eat, check in, boom, boom, boom. Yeah, and so, boom, like this one. But glad to do the show. I got a few guests on, and the subject came about from Mr. Bruce Jingles. We'll let him tell his story. He was saying, we should talk about heart attacks. And, it's big news. Michael Clark Duncan died, and, it's really sad. Like, he was such a nice guy. Like, I think people that didn't even know him just kind of, like, loved him. You know what I mean? He never even, like, played like a evil asshole or anything like that. I think in Planet of the Apes he might have been semi-bad. But, it was like he was inspirational in so many ways, and it was just so sad to see that big guy go. I met him. He was a wrestling fan. He came to WWE at the Staples Center in Los Angeles one time when I was there, and I was impressed to meet him, because I'm a fan. How can you not be? And that kind of inspired, some conversations about heart attacks, about, how old the standards are versus, what you should expect. And, as with many conversations, we said, let's talk about it on the radio. So also a good friend of mine, I've always started the shows in the past by saying, happy September 6th, 2012. There's never been another one. We all made it. Not everybody did. I got another friend that probably listened to the last show that didn't make it to this one. And he was a good friend of mine. He was in the Cottonmouth Kings. Yeah, Pacalico.
Yeah.
He was like, that and go to sleep. I usually get like 2 hours of a nap, and then bam, off to the studios for a long day. That's like midnight by the time I get some dinner, and I usually have a 7 or 8 o'clock flight back to the West Coast. So that's best case scenario. Takes a little bit to recover from that. You do some live event house shows or media in between that, coming back on Sunday or Monday, leaving Wednesday. Holy cow, RVD Radio falls to the back of the burner sometimes. It's hard to get everything in. And this is why we haven't done any RVD Radio shows in a while. They're fun to do. I enjoy them. We all get a little something out of it, right? No? All right, fuck it. Last RVD Radio right here. Anyway, we're doing a show, and by the way, it's worth mentioning in the last couple of weeks when I talk about how busy I've been, besides going from California to Florida and back over the summer, last 8, 9, 10 weeks, whatever, I've also, besides doing media in Arizona and Iowa, wrestled in Iowa and Ottawa and whatever the other town was, and Maryland and Ohio and Pennsylvania and New York and wherever I'm forgetting. But I was going to go to Georgia this week, and then boom, I guess my placement in this big BFG tournament got me out of that, because now I'm going to Florida, and then I'll be on the pay-per-view this Sunday, I believe. Is that a spoiler? I don't know. Whatever. You guys aren't listening live anyway. You listen to the archives. And by then, I've already impressed you, and you've already seen me tomorrow on Thursday.